Join ForumIAS Academy, trusted by hundreds of toppers, including IAS Rank 1 𝐂𝐡𝐚𝐬𝐫𝐢𝐻𝐻𝐵𝐻.
Good evening, aspirants. Welcome to the Hindu News Analysis discussion brought to you by ForumIAS for the date 29th June 2023. These are the list of news articles for today's discussion. We will be covering 5 topics, each from environment, polity, governance, and a topic from education. So alongside this, we will also be covering 2 previous year prelims questions at the end of the discussion. So with this straight away, let us move to our first article of the day. First topic, Biofertilizer Scheme gets central government's green light. The news is that the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs recently approved the PM Pranam scheme. The abbreviation for PM Pranam is PM, Program for Restoration, Awareness, Generation, Nourishment and Amelioration of Mother Earth. So in this context, let us deal the first topic. See, as per government rules, organic fertilizers can be categorized into 2 segments. They are biofertilizer and organic manure. See, biofertilizers are composed of living microorganisms and these are attached to solid or liquid carriers. Know that these microorganisms help in increasing the productivity of soil. The other category of organic fertilizer, named the organic manure, is partially decomposed organic matter from biogas plants, compost or vermicompost. If you take the current status of the organic fertilizer industry, in India at present, biofertilizer production is just over 110,000 tons and 34 million tons of organic manure is also produced alongside that. Know that the popularity of organic farming has grown in the domestic market in recent years and the market size for Indian organic packaged food is expected to grow at a rate of 17% and cross rupees 875 million and crossed rupees 875 million by 2021. But the penetration of organic fertilizers is low. For instance, the proportion of organic fertilizers of the overall fertilizer consumption was just around 0.29%. This was for the period 2019 to 20. See, you have to know biogas plants produce biogas as well as organic fertilizers. Now, if you take the potential of biogas plants, as per the data of National Solid Waste Association and CPCB, India produces more than 150,000 tons of municipal solid waste. If we consider organic waste to be 50% of this and collection efficiency of 80%, organic waste generated per day in India is around 65,000 tons. Even if half of this is diverted to the biogas industry, the government can reduce import dependence on fossil fuels and fertilizers. For that only, government has come up with a scheme with a program named SATAT program. We will discuss this at the end of this topic. But now let us know more about Pranam scheme. See, as of now, you must be knowing that India spends high part of its current account expenditure on subsidies and majorly on petroleum and fertilizer subsidies. If this burden of chemical subsidy is not reduced, then the subsidy is expected to increase to rupees 2.25 lakh crores by the year 2023 to 24, which is 39% higher than the previous year figures. So to prevent this only, government came up with scheme PM Pranam. See, the objective of the scheme is to promote alternative nutrients for agriculture management and to bring down the subsidy burden on chemical fertilizers. Here, know that the idea of the scheme has been initiated by the Union Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers. Also, this scheme will not have a separate budget and it will be financed through the savings of existing fertilizer subsidy under schemes run by Department of Fertilizers. If we take the utilization of savings, see, about 50% savings on subsidy will be passed on as a grant to states that save money. Secondly, about 70% of grants given under the scheme can be used for asset creation related to technological adoption. Technological development is related to alternate fertilizers and setting up alternate fertilizer production units at village, block and district levels. Then the remaining 30% of grant money can be utilized for rewarding and encouraging farmers, panchayats, farmer producer organizations, SHGs that involved in reduction of fertilizer use, and even for programs for awareness generation can be promoted using this fund. Now let us know why this scheme was initiated and it became necessary. See, in the past 5 years, the requirement for 4 fertilizers, namely urea, MOP, diammonium phosphate, NPK, which is nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium, rose by 21%. That is from 528 lakh metric tons in 2017, it increased to 640 lakh metric tons in 2021 to 2022. And the most used fertilizer, that is the chemical fertilizer in India, is urea, which recorded an increase of nearly 20% in the year 2021. In order to promote the balanced use of fertilizers or to promote the alternative fertilizer, the government planned to introduce the scheme, PM Pranam scheme. In addition to this, let us also know more about SATAT scheme, or the program that focuses on biogas. See, SATAT initiative stands for Sustainable Alternative Towards Affordable Transportation. The initiative aims to promote compressed biogas as an alternative and green transport fuel, and it would benefit both vehicle users as well as farmers and entrepreneurs. The potential for compressed biogas production from various sources in India is estimated to be around 62 million tons per annum. And if we take the features of the initiative, compressed biogas plants are proposed to be set up mainly through independent entrepreneurs. Secondly, the CBG produced at these plants will be transported through cascades of cylinders to the fuel station network for marketing as a green transport fuel alternative. Also, the entrepreneurs would then be able to separately market the other byproducts from these plants, including biomanure, carbon dioxide, to enhance returns on investments. Then if we take the significance of the initiative, that is the significance of SATAT initiative, there are multiple benefits from covering agricultural residue, cattle dung and municipal solid waste into CBG on a commercial scale. It is like includes additional revenue sources for farmers, boost to entrepreneurship, rural economy and employment, then support to national commitments in achieving climate change goals, then reduction in import of natural gas and crude oil, etc. So these are some of the significance of this initiative, and that is all about the topic. So from this topic, we learnt about the PM Pranam scheme, the necessity of it, as well as we saw in detail about the SATAT scheme. So with this, let us close this news article here and move to the second topic. Second topic, SC Collegium gets makeover with 2 new judges joining. The news article mentions that 2 new judges have joined the Collegium. So in this context, let us know about the Collegium system comprehensively. Aspirants can make use of these facts for writing mains answers. See, the Collegium system was introduced in response to executive interference in judicial appointments. But however, this system has failed to protect judicial appointments from executive interference. It is due to the reasons like post-retirement appointments of judges, which we will be discussing in the criticism part later. Know that at present, the Collegium comprises of Chief Justice of India and 4 senior-most judges of the Supreme Court. Despite various criticisms and attempts to reform the appointments and transfer processes, the Collegium system still persists and remains stronger. If we take the current scenario, the appointments of the judges are formally made by the President of India only. But the President himself or herself makes such appointments based on the recommendations of the Collegium. And these proposals are processed through the Ministry of Law and Justice. See, the system was in news 2 years back as 2 judges of the Collegium expressed caution to CJI. These 2 judges were against the proposed elevation of 22 lawyers as High Court judges in Bombay. They felt that the proposed people were lacking in integrity and should not be appointed. In the past also, CJI had ignored the veto of senior judges and appointed a judge. Later on, that judge went ahead and delivered an absurd verdict on POCSO Act. So these are the points which we could list under the current scenario. And now coming back to the Collegium system again, see, it is a system by which the judges are appointed and transferred only by judges. Know that this system is not formed by any act of the Parliament or by any constitutional provisions. Instead, It is a system which evolved by the judgments of Supreme Court. Here, the SC Collegium is headed by the CJI and comprises 4 other senior-most judges of the court. In an HC Collegium, that is the High Court Collegium, it is led by Chief Justice of High Court and 4 other senior-most judges of that court. The names recommended for appointment by the High Court Collegium reach the government only after the approval of CJI and the Supreme Court Collegium. But the government can return the recommended judge for reconsideration by the Collegium. Know that also. And if the Collegium reiterates its recommendation, then the government is mandated to appoint a person. That's how this system works. The system was introduced for strengthening and improving the appointment process. Now coming to the evolution of Collegium system, Article 124 of the Indian Constitution provides that judges of the Supreme Court are appointed by the President. In addition to that, the President has to consult a certain number of Supreme Court and of High Court judges when it deems necessary. Secondly, under Article 217 of the Indian Constitution, it states that the Judge of High Court shall be appointed by the President in consultation with the CJI, and the Governor of the state. Further, the Chief Justice of High Court should also be consulted except in case of his or her own appointments. These provisions are mentioned in the Article 217. Then, in the first judge's case of 1981, the court said consultation under Article 124 doesn't mean concurrence. And based on this judgment only, the President is not bound by CJI's advice. But in the second judge's case, the court overruled its previous decision and said that CJI's advice is binding. Further, the Chief Justice of India is required to formulate its advice based on a collegium of judges consisting of CJI and 2 senior-most judges. Finally, in the third judge's case that happened in the year 1998, the court expanded the collegium to 5-member body to include CJI and 4 senior-most judges of the court after the CJI. Then in the fourth judge's case, which happened in the year 2015, the Supreme Court upheld the primacy of collegium. Further, the court struck down the NJAC Act, that is the National Judicial Appointments Commission Act, as unconstitutional. Also, the court held that the act gave government significant powers to appoint judges. The court also held that NJAC Act encroached upon the judicial independence and undermined the basic structure. According to NJAC, the NJAC comprised of 3 judges of Supreme Court, a central law minister, and 2 civil society experts to decide upon judicial appointments. And then a person would not be recommended by NJAC if any of the 2 of its members did not accept such recommendations. So it makes the appointment process more broad-based. But anyway, this got struck down by Supreme Court. Now, let us see the need for collegium system. First is that it separates the judiciary from the influence of executive and legislature. This ensures impartial and independent functioning. So, the collegium system strengthens the principle of separation of power. That is, no organ of the state should intervene in functioning of other organ. Secondly, the state is the main litigant in Indian courts. About 46% of total cases pending in India pertains to the government. If the power to transfer the judges is given to the executive, then the fear of transfer would impede justice delivery. Thirdly, the executive organ is not a specialist, or it does not have the knowledge regarding the requirement of judges. Therefore, it is better if the collegium system appoints judges. Fourthly, the political vulnerability in India is a factor here. The government handling the transfers and appointments is prone to nepotism. For example, there are ample amount of evidences where the civil servants were transferred for political gains. This cannot be feasible with the present collegium system. Further, the collegium system provides stability to judges. So these are the needs for collegium system as of now. Now, coming to the criticisms part. First is that it gives enormous powers to judges that can be easily misused. The collegium system has made India the only country where judges appoint judges. Secondly, the selection of judges by collegium system is said to be undemocratic, since judges are not accountable to the people or representatives of people, that is executives or legislature. Thirdly, there is no official procedure for selecting or any written manual for functioning. This creates an ambiguity in the collegium's functioning. Adding to that, another criticism is that sons and nephews of previous judges or senior lawyers tend to become popular choices for judicial roles. Thus, it encourages mediocrity in the judiciary by excluding talented ones and breeds nepotism. Fifthly, the delays over the appointments are still persistent. Then know that the procedure lacks uniformity. Sometimes a judge of High Court is elevated as Chief Justice of the same High Court, while in other cases, he or she is made Chief Justice of some other High Court. Then finally, proactive decisions on improving transparency were rolled back to secrecy. This includes the practice of not disclosing the reasons while announcing the collegium's decision. And in this topic itself, we can see what are the suggestions that could be put forward. Aspirants can take note of it. Firstly, the center needs to act on collegium's decision within a specific time period so that delays are minimized. Many names for appointments to High Courts of Bombay and Allahabad were pending before the government during the years of 2020 and 2021. Then both the center and judiciary must stop the blame game and focus collectively on reforming the appointment process. So a consensus needs to be developed on memorandum of procedure, and this procedure has to include few important provisions like agreement between judiciary and government, then framing criteria for selection, etc. And then at present, the collegium only puts out public statement on who has been recommended, but it does not disclose who has been dropped out or for what reasons. So the collegium system must revert to an earlier practice of providing rational reasons for its decision. Further, a written manual should be released by the Supreme Court. The manual should be followed in letter and spirit during appointments and transfers. Fifthly, the Supreme Court should also release the records of all collegiums meeting in the public domain in order to ensure transparency and rule-based process. Finally, apart from reforming the collegium system, the quality of judges can also be improved through the implementation of All India Judicial Services. So these are 6 suggestions which we could put forward in order to reduce the criticisms against the collegium system. So from this topic, we saw entirely and comprehensively about collegium system. So with this, let us close this news article here. Third topic, Noto warns against online promotion of organ trade. The news is that the National Organ and Tissue Transplant Organization has issued a warning against private websites and social media posts that are promoting and offering organs for trade. Further, it added that such online promotions violates the provision of Transplantation of Human Organ and Tissues Act of 1994 and its rules. So from this topic, let us know about Noto in detail from prelims perspective. Noto. See, National Organ and Tissue Transplant Organization is a national level organization. It is set up under the Directorate General of Health Services, which is functioning under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Know that Noto would function as apex center for all India activities of coordination and networking for procurement and distribution of organs, tissues, registry of organs, tissue donations and transplantation in the country. In addition to that, it lays down policy guidelines and protocols for various functions. Then it has network with similar regional networks, regional organization and state level organizations. And adding to that, it handles the dissemination of information to all concerned organizations, hospitals and individuals. Now let us know about the Act, since it is mentioned in the article, Transplantation of Human Organs and Tissues Act of 1994. See, the Act provides for the regulation of removal, storage and transplantation of human organs for therapeutic purposes. It also provides provisions for the prevention of commercial dealings in human organs and tissues. See, it contains detailed provisions relating to authorities for removal of human organs, preservation of human organs, regulation of the hospitals conducting the removal, storage or transplantation of human organs. And this act also provides for punishments or penalties for offences relating to the foresaid matters. Also know that the Government of India enacted the Transplantation of Human Organs Amendment Act of 2011, which allows the swapping of organs and widens the donor pool by including grandparents and grandchildren in the list. Then recently, the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare has modified National Organ Transplantation Guidelines, allowing those above 65 years of age to receive an organ for transplantation from deceased donors. So accordingly, the upper age limit for registration has been removed under the modified National Organ Transplantation Guidelines. See, the new guidelines have done away with the 65-year age limit for registration of patients seeking organs from deceased donor. Secondly, the new guidelines say no domicile required from now on. That is, the government has asked states to remove the domicile criterion for registering those seeking organs from deceased donors for transplant procedures. Now, the needy persons can go to any state of the country and register for getting organ and also get the transplant done. Thirdly, no registration fee is required from now on. States have been asked not to charge recipients for registration on waiting list for organs. States such as Maharashtra, Kerala, Gujarat and Telangana charge between rupees 5,000 to 10,000 to register recipients for organ transplantation. Now, this has to be avoided by the states. So, these are the three things which have been reformed under the new guidelines. So that is all about the topic. So from this topic we saw about Noto and the law associated with it, and also about the modified National Organ Transplantation Guidelines. So with this, let us move to the next article. Fourth topic, 𝐒𝐻𝐿𝐵𝐻 in the era of big data and AI. Firstly, let us know about the terms mentioned here. See, big data simply refers to large amount of data that is structured, semi-structured or unstructured in nature. See, nowadays the data pool is so voluminous that it becomes difficult for any organization to manage and process it using traditional databases and software techniques. Therefore, big data not only implies the enormous amount of available data, but it also refers to the entire process of gathering, storing and analyzing that data. Now coming to AI, see, artificial intelligence is a way of making a computer or a computer controlled robot or software perform human-like tasks. It generally refers to the ability of machines to perform cognitive tasks like thinking, perceiving, learning, problem solving and decision making. There are two subsets under the umbrella term AI. They are machine learning and deep learning. Here the title mentions 𝐒𝐻𝐿𝐵𝐻 in the era of big data and AI. P.C. 𝐒𝐻𝐿𝐵𝐻 is one who introduced statistics to India and took various efforts to advance statistics and survey culture in India. Know that he is the founder of Indian Statistical Institute. Now coming back to the article, the author says over the past 20 years, there has been a global shift in both the nature of data and statistics. This is because of the wide usage of internet and virtually everything confined to the Internet of Things, leading to flooding of data. And most of the data's flooding or junk data. So we now have much more data than what available technology can leverage. Hence, this era with multiple data floods is widely perceived as the era of big data. Here the author refers to 𝐒𝐻𝐿𝐵𝐻 saying that even this great statistician encountered a big data problem when his large-scale surveys yielded lot of data that requires analysis for effective planning. To deal with such high amount of data, 𝐒𝐻𝐿𝐵𝐻 persuaded the government and succeeded in procuring the first two digital computers of the country at his Indian Statistical Institute. Then in the second para, the author mentions about the numerous contradictory projections during the COVID-19 era, like projections of expected GDP estimates of future, like that. He says if 𝐒𝐻𝐿𝐵𝐻 was alive today, the country's COVID-19 response could have been much stronger, and if he was in the lead, our data might be beyond question and the analysis might be far more accurate. Then finally, in the AI regulations part, the author reminds us of the fact that India's upcoming census will be a digital exercise and the dynamics of other surveys are also bound to change in the new normal setup. And he says that is how statistics is evolving. Because of this evolution, AI is threatening to replace millions of jobs without creating alternatives. Secondly, AI is also aiding in spreading disinformation. So to address this, many countries started regulating it. To regulate AI in a successful manner, statistical instincts of 𝐒𝐻𝐿𝐵𝐻 could also be instrumental in regulating. This is what the author has mentioned in the article. Now, in addition to this, let us also know more about the contributions of 𝐒𝐻𝐿𝐵𝐻 from prelims angle. See, 𝐒𝐻𝐿𝐵𝐻 contributed to 𝐒𝐻𝐿𝐵𝐻 distance. In 1930, he proposed the Mahalanobis distance for the first time, which is a measure of comparison between two data sets. Then in the year 1932, he founded Indian Statistical Institute in Kolkata. Then in the year 1933, he started 𝐒𝐚𝐬𝐫𝐢𝐻, the Indian Journal of Statistics. Then he established a National Sample Survey and set up Central Statistical Organization to coordinate statistical activities in 1950. Then by the year 1955, he became the member of Planning Commission. Then finally know that he was instrumental in formulating India's second 5-year plan. That is 5-year plan between 1956 to 1961, which laid down the blueprint for industrialization and development in India. So these are few contributions of Mahalanobis. With this, let us close this topic and move to the next article. Fifth and the final topic, rankings and the realities of higher education. See, the National Institutional Ranking Framework recently released the India rankings for 2023. This is the 8th consecutive editions of rankings of higher education institutions in 5 categories and 8 subject domains. The NIRF evaluates institutions on 5 parameters. They are teaching, learning and resources, graduation outcomes, research and professional practices, outreach and inclusivity, and perception. Know that ranks are assigned based on the sum of marks secured by institutions on each of these parameters. Here the author says the methodology adopted and the parameters chosen by the Ministry of Education, then the scrutiny of 2023 edition, as well as some of the available data on higher education raises some important issues that warrants policy attention. Now let us see the issue with respect to NIRF. First is the issue of participation of institutions. According to the Ministry of Education, in this edition of NIRF, only around 5,543 institutions participated in the ranking exercise. Here he compares this data with the IAS report. As per the All India Survey on Higher Education 2021 report, nearly 1,113 universities and 43,796 colleges participated in the year 2020-21. This implies that only around 12.3% of higher education institutions participated in the NIRF framework processes. Adding to this, IAS data shows that about 43% of universities and 60% of colleges are in rural areas. But in NIRF, there are very less number of colleges from rural areas in the top 100 college list. Secondly, of the top 100 colleges ranked by NIRF, 35 are from Tamil Nadu, 32 from Delhi, 14 from Kerala, and remaining are from the rest of India. But according to IAS data, Uttar Pradesh has the highest number of colleges in the country, followed by Maharashtra and Karnataka. This shows how the data from two different studies on same subject is getting varied. The third issue relates to the close correlation between faculty strength and ranking. A comparison between the top 100 and the remaining institutions shows vast differences in this regard. Here, the average number of faculty in the top 100 universities is 645, while for the remaining universities it is only 242. Here we must know quality education cannot be provided with brick and mortar alone. Even in the case of engineering, where the ranking is often advertised by the institutions, only 34% of institutions adhere to the AICTE prescribed faculty-student ratio of 1:20. So these are the issues that are surrounding the NIRF, which has to be sorted out with better methodology, comparative study, and use of better technologies in data gathering and analysis. So these are the issues that are mentioned by the author in this article. So that is all about the fifth topic. With this, we have come to the end of the news articles discussion here. Now let us move to the previous year questions discussion. The two previous year questions that I am going to discuss here have appeared in the year 2022. Consider the first question. The term Levant, often heard in the news, roughly responds to which of the following regions? The options given are: option A, region along the eastern Mediterranean shores; option B, region along North African shores stretching from Egypt to Morocco; option C, region along Persian Gulf and Horn of Africa; option D, the entire coastal areas of Mediterranean Sea. See, the term Levant is an old term referring to countries of Eastern Mediterranean, and some scholars here included Cyprus and also small part of Turkey. But basically, Levant has throughout history meant Syria, Lebanon and Palestine. This means even Jordan, West Bank and Israel itself are part of Levant. So the answer for this question is option A, region along the eastern Mediterranean shores. Moving to the second question, in the context of WHO air quality guidelines, consider the following statements. First statement, the 24-hour mean of PM 2.5 should not exceed 15 microgram per meter cube and annual mean of PM 2.5 should not exceed 5 microgram per meter cube. Second statement, in a year, the highest level of ozone pollution occur during the period of inclement weather. Statement 3, PM10 can penetrate the lung barrier and enter the bloodstream. Fourth statement, excessive ozone in the air can trigger asthma. Which of the statement given above are correct? The options given are option A, 1, 3 and 4, option B, 1 and 4 only, option C, 2, 3 and 4, option D, 1 and 2 only. See, according to the guidelines, WHO guidelines, the annual average of PM 2.5 should not exceed 5 micrograms per cubic meter of air, while the 24-hour average should not exceed 15 micrograms per cubic meter. So the first statement is correct. The second statement says the highest level of ozone pollution occur during the period of inclement weather. No, this is wrong, because the reaction of pollutants such as nitrogen oxide, volatile organic compounds with sunlight causes photochemical smog. So, as a result, highest level of ozone pollution occur during period of sunny weather. So, this statement is wrong, because inclement weather means an unpleasant weather, especially with cold wind and rain. So, this is wrong. Now, if we remove the second statement, it has to be either A or B. Now, let us see the third statement. It says PM10 can penetrate the lung barrier and enter the bloodstream. This is wrong, because PM10 can penetrate the lung barrier, but it cannot enter the bloodstream and all. Here you have to know that the diameter of 2.5 microns or PM 2.5 can penetrate the lung barrier and enter the bloodstream, but PM10 cannot do it. So, third statement is wrong. The answer for this question is option B, 1 and 4 only. So with this, we have come to the end of the news articles discussion and also discussions on previous year prelims questions and mains question. With this, let us wind up the discussion. If you like the method of teaching and if you can understand the concept well, please like, comment, subscribe and share with your friends, and also subscribe to ForumIAS in various social media platforms for further updates. Thank you for listening.